Hi there, my name is Quentin Lyons. I'm so happy to see you in that video. I'm a writer, I'm a coach, and I'm also an expert in relationship dynamics. What are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about how to avoid manipulation in relationships. I don't know if you have ever been through that, but it's so hard sometimes when you're in a relationship, when you're involved in a relationship, and you feel somehow that you can't say no to something. That's a simple question. Did it happen to you that once you wanted to say no and you didn't allow yourself to do it? Did it happen? Or did it happen that somehow you had to do something, not just to say yes, but to do something you didn't want to do, but you felt forced to do it? Did it happen sometime in your life? I'm pretty sure it happened. Even at school, for example, it happened to all of us. And the main question in that thing is that a manipulation game or not? So to answer this question, we're going to try first to define what manipulation is, then I'm going to explain to you how the relationship dynamics is working in manipulation games, and on the third part I'm going to talk about the usual process of manipulation, and on the last one I will give you some tricks, so please stay until the end. I will give you some tricks to avoid that and to get out of that game, because it's just a crazy game. Everybody's involved in that, they're not always conscious of it, so the thing is, open your mind, get aware of what's happening in the relationship you're involved in. So let's start with the first part now. How do you know that you are involved in a relationship which is abusive? How do you know that someone is trying to manipulate you? Or maybe it's a bit harder to do, but maybe somehow you've been manipulating people without noticing it, or maybe you knew it, but you feel a bit too ashamed to say it or whatever. Okay, let's say that's a game. There is no guilty ones and there is no bad guys or good guys. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's a dynamic between two persons. It's a dynamic in the relationship, and we're gonna crack the code today. So the first question is, how do I know that I'm involved in a manipulation game in that relationship? The first thing is the feelings. How do I feel when I'm in that relationship? Do I feel freedom? Do I feel that I can do or say whatever I want with kindness? I don't mean to be rude, but do I feel free in that relationship? Or do I feel obliged to do something or to say some stuff, or to be convenient, to be nice, for example, with your mom, with your brother, with your sister, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your boss? Did it happen sometimes that you felt that something was wrong, but you didn't allow yourself to do it? And how did you feel in your body at that very particular moment? That's the first key. Where do you have your feelings? In your body. So be curious what's happening in there, what is alive in there, what is living inside my body, what kind of feelings do I feel at the right moment in that conversation? To answer that question, you have to listen to your stomach, you have to listen to your throat, you have to listen to your plexus, and then you will know that you're involved in a relationship. And the other question I wanted to ask you right now is, how did you react at that very moment? And did you submit yourself to the other one? Or did you rise up? Did you fight? How did you react? What was your reaction? And how did you feel after that reaction? Were you proud of yourself? Did you feel more power in you? Or did you feel a little bit diminished? Okay, who knows? So once again, the definition of a manipulation is, the first very definition is that someone is trying to make you do something you don't want. If someone is trying to push you to do something you don't want, then it's a manipulation game. And if you are trying to force someone to do something he doesn't want or she doesn't want, that's also a manipulation game. And it can be for little things. Like, for example, let's say there's some friends, they're organizing a party, and some of them are just, okay, they really want the other one to come. Hey, please come, we're organizing a party tonight at 12 o'clock, or not 12 o'clock, but at 8 o'clock p.m. we're organizing a party, we will have, I don't know, barbecue or dinner or whatever, please come. Oh, I got some problems at home, I got to deal with my kids, I'm just not available at that moment, or maybe it's the only evening I got on my own and I need some time to rest, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna say no. And the other one is pushing, please come on, it's not that often, you always say no, please do an effort that time, man. And if someone is saying that to you, or if you're saying that to someone, then you're trying to push him to do something he doesn't want. So to respect the other one and to not be in a manipulation game, you have to allow the other one to say no. That's a very, very good question to ask to yourself when you're just talking to someone and asking for something. Do I let him the choice to say no or not? And please be honest with that question. If you ask that question to yourself and the answer is, I'm not ready to hear a no coming out from that conversation, then you're manipulating that people. So please be aware of what you're doing and your intention, and be aware of your feelings. And I told you the three spots to listen is the throat, the plexus, and the stomach. Listen to them, take your time before answering, and then you will know if you're involved or not in a manipulation game. That's the end of the first part. The second part now is, how can I get out of the trap? Well, I want to say for that it's like any trap. You can't get out of the trap if you don't understand how it works. How does the trap works? Because, for example, if you think about a mouse trap, the mouse is coming, the trap is, well, most of the time she's dead, so she can't get out of it. But, to avoid that, you can't just do the opposite that what you done to come in the trap. Because if you go in that way, that direction, and then the trap is just closing you up, then you can't go rear. You have to push it on the other direction. So every time you're involved in a trap, you have to understand how it works to get out of it. So how does a relationship dynamic manipulation game works? It works that way. There is the me, there is the you, so the two persons, the me, the you, and most of the time people are watching at each other and judging themselves. In 10 seconds, you judge the person. Is it an enemy? Is it a friend? Can I talk to him? Do we have the same culture? Does he look like me? Does he doesn't look like? Does he doesn't? Sorry, my English, sometimes I make mistakes. You've noticed that, but that's not a problem. I just want you to understand the main subject of it, the main purpose of it, sorry. So there is the me, there is the you, and in 10 seconds you've been judging the other one. By judging, and you do that for your safety, and that's normal. But after those 10 seconds, when you realize that that person is not a danger, then you can avoid judgment. You don't need that anymore. Most people do. They keep on judging the other one, the way that we dress, the way we look, the way we're I don't know, the way the makeup is made or whatever. We're judging each other all the time. And by doing that, we try to define that kind of I can't find a proper word to say it, but we try to feel more confident because we think we're right and the other one is wrong. For example, if you don't like my shirt, you might say, what's this guy, this French guy with this haircut, with this beard on him, and with that kind of shirt? Is he talking shit to me, or is it doing something interesting? Is it really sharing, or is it trying to sell me something at the end of that video? I can promise you there is no offer at the end of the video. It's a free one, totally free. I just want to help. That's all I want to do. So, you're asking yourself, who is that person? Is it a danger, or is that person kind and I can communicate with her? Or is that person so different that I am that I can't communicate with her? It's the question of the culture shock, and you know that by heart, I guess. If in your neighborhood there are some people from another culture, another religion, another ethnic, anything, okay? So if something or someone is totally different, then you know it's going to be tricky to find some common zone to create a relationship. So is it worth or not to develop the relationship? 10 seconds, it's just 10 seconds. And after those 10 seconds, if you keep on judging the other one, then you start to try to project your own system value on the other one. And you try to be right. And in the game of who's right or wrong, there is just one loser, which is always the same, and all the time it ends like that. The loser of that game is the relationship itself. So please remember, when you're judging someone or when you're projecting your value system on someone else, then at the end you will lose, or the relationship will just be decreasing. The quality of it will be decreasing. So between me and you, there is a relationship. It's like a box, you know. It's like a pot with a flower in it, for example. Well, it's a flower if you put some seeds of flower. What you will harvest will depend on what you put some seeds in it. So that's your responsibility. Think of a pot okay? And you put some seeds in it. And the other one is putting some seeds too. So you're both responsible of what's happening in that box, in that pot. Okay, what do I put? Do I put jealousy? Do I put suspicion? Do I put judgment? What do I put as ingredients? Okay, as intentions? And what does the other one put also? And by asking you this kind of questions, then you might be aware that what you're harvesting is the result of it. For example, if you feel a lack of confidence, a lack of self-esteem, then you might be jealous. And if you're involved in a love relationship with jealousy as an ingredient, then what will you harvest? Please, come on, just suspicion? And then what will it be? Confidence? You will feel closer? Or if the other one is becoming aware that you're doing that in the relationship, like searching on his phone or whatever, on his emails, or there is a lack of confidence in your relationship, what will the other one do? Come on, will he react like, oh, I love you, please come here? Or would he be annoyed by that and shouting on you and arguing? So suspicion means that you're putting a bad seed in the relationship. So what you harvest depends on what you plant. This is something very, very important to remind. The relationship is like a pot. The other one is not responsible 100%. You are not responsible the 100%. Both are responsible equally of 50%. So the trap of manipulation games comes out of it. Between the me and the you, there is the we, that relationship. And if you don't know who you are, if you don't really know what is your value system, what are your feelings, and what are your qualities or whatever, and you expect the other one to show that to you, then the self-esteem you got, your value, will depend on someone else. Will depend on the we. So if you define yourself, if you define the me from the we, then you're in a danger zone, because the we can't define who you are. You are creating the we. It's not the opposite. And most people think that the we is creating the me, but it's the opposite. It's the me who is creating the we by the 50% I put in it. And this is very, very, very important to remind, because if you don't think like that, if you let the other one define who you are, then he will define how to be happy, how to be sad. He will get the control on your life, and so you become dependent, and so you be the perfect target to be manipulated. That's the game. So if you know who you are and what you want, nobody on earth can manipulate you. And why don't we do that? Because we're trapped in that relationship manipulating game, which is defined by the Cartman triangle. I don't know if you heard of that before. I'm going to try to put it somewhere on the screen. You will see it. There is 3 different roles we're playing in a relationship. There is the villain, the savior, and the victim. Very often, when you feel like a victim, you're asking for a savior. Will someone save me about that? And so you claim that you're a victim, and you're complaining all the time, and you're blaming the others. For example, you're blaming the society, you're blaming your boss, you're blaming your company, you're blaming your parents, you're blaming your brother, you're blaming your wife, you're blaming your husband, whatever. You're blaming someone else, someone from the outside. And for example, let's say I'm a woman, I'm blaming my husband. He's not kind with me, he doesn't take care of me anymore, whatever. So you're blaming that person. I feel like a victim. I'm blaming my husband, okay? I'm straight, by the way, but we don't care. I'm blaming my husband. So what do? I blame that person, and when I meet a savior, someone who's happy to be the savior, what will he do? He will listen to me and say, I understand you, what a jerk, come on, you deserve better than that. And then start to seduce me, and then I'll start to have like an affair. And that's the way it works. He was my savior. And then by doing that, by having an affair with someone else, what happens? I start to be the villain, and my husband starts to be the victim because I'm not respecting the wedding contract. And that's the kind of game. I'm becoming the villain somehow because I was a victim and I wanted the savior. So now I feel guilty about my husband. So what will I do? I will try to be the savior of my husband. Even if I break up, I will try to show you kindness and to, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure everything's fine for you? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I will try to be the savior because I feel guilty of myself. And those 3 roles, villain, savior, and victim, we are playing them all the time. And they can change in a sentence, in a second. We can change that, but it's very easy. And you might notice that further on. If you're interested, go to Google and Google Karpman triangle and you will find a lot of explanation on it. It's very, very interesting. And you will see it's so common. It concerns everybody on Earth almost, I guess. Well, maybe I'm going a bit too far on that because there are still some Buddhist priests, for example, who might not be concerned about that, but most people are very often in our society anyway. So, what I wanted to tell you in that second part, and I'm going to resume that, is that this trap, you're involved in that trap, you're stuck in that trap because you're defining yourself from the we and not from the me. And this is the big difference. Also, the Karpman triangle, and then the third thing I wanted to tell you, which is very important for me, is the perception. It's not what the other one is doing, which is dangerous. Is the meaning I'm giving to that, and that comes from my perception, my filter, the code I've been programming in my unconscious, the way things should be in common relationship, in normal relationship. For example, I'm behaving that way with my boss because it's something I've learned from school or whatever, and someone is behaving another way. Who's wrong? Who's right? There is no wrong or right. There is a relationship which works, and there is a relationship which doesn't work. What you feel inside doesn't depend on the fact, it depends on the meaning you're giving to the facts. And that's really, really important. And in this manipulation game, you will see that it's very important. That slight difference between the fact and the meaning of the fact, we will see on the third part, or maybe the fourth, I can't remember exactly how I structured the thing. You will see that it's something which is very, very important, the meaning of the fact. So first of all, don't define the me from the we. We will see at the end how to define the me. But don't define yourself from the relationship, because that's the worst thing you can do. Be aware of what the Karpman triangle is and think that it's not the fact which is important, but the meaning of the fact. I've finished with the second part. Now we can go directly into the third part, which is what is the usual process of manipulation. There is always the same ingredients. There are 3 of them. So it's quite simple, but listen carefully. The first one is the lever of blackmail. And the lever of blackmail, which will push you to do something you don't want to do, is always the same. It's the relationship benefits. You will take some benefits from the relationship. For example, someone is very well known, or someone is a photographer and knows everybody in the mode world and is telling you, okay, if you come to my studio, I will shoot some pictures of you and you might become a model one day. And then, well, okay, I don't know, and what about having sex, you know? And what about doing other things which are just totally absurd? But, okay, I'm gonna take some pictures of you, but please give me money before, because you will use these pictures anyway for your book, for whatever, and you start to feel that there is something wrong, but you don't know what. So that's just an example. All the photographers are not like that, luckily, or hopefully, I don't know. But, okay, you know now what is the lever of blackmail. It's the relationship benefits. It might be in your job, it might be in your love relationship, it might be with your colleagues, it might be with your friends, it might be different ways, okay? Very often it works with money, but it might work also with love. And most people are doing things because they think they will harvest love after that. And it's not the case, and they're always complaining, and they're always stuck in that trap because they can't get out of that relationship, because they still hope that one day they will receive the love they deserve. But they will not, because the relationship isn't balanced. And that's one thing, is what is the level of blackmail I got in that relationship I'm not happy with? What is it that I hope in that relationship that is never coming, or just with, little pieces? It's coming just a tiny thing, but not the whole thing. So you're looking for relationship benefits, and those benefits are not coming. And so you feel that there is something wrong, but you don't know what. And you're afraid because that promises they gave you might vanish. And at that very moment, you feel that it's useless. I don't want to throw that relationship away. I've involved too much in that. Yes, but what is the real benefit? So the first one is the lever of blackmail. The second one is the fog. The person who is manipulating someone else is always putting that person in not precise circumstances. I will do that one day. Okay, I promise you we will share that. I promise you I'll bring you to that football game. I promise you you will have a promotion. I promise you something. Okay, yeah, it's not, but it's not the right time, you know, at the moment. There are some big issues about the finance of the company or whatever, and we have to fix that before, but they don't say when. You might lose everything, even your life, because you're hoping that one day something is gonna happen, and it's never happening because that person is using that to get you in control. That's all. So the relationship benefits, the fog in the way you talk, and I will give you some tools at the end of that video to help you to be more precise in your language, in the way you're expressing yourself, and to ask the good questions. And then the third one, you have guessed that already, is unfairness. The relationship is always for someone else's benefit, but never yours, and you're never even. You're always giving more than what you're receiving. So those three parts, those three ingredients are always involved in the process. And why is that? Why is it that those kind of person are doing that? And maybe you, maybe me, I've done that many times, I must confess, before being aware of it. So it's just something which is normal before you're getting aware of it. After that, it's less normal. And I hope this video will help you for that. So what is it? What is the process? I got my value system and I want the world to work the way I think it should. So I want the other one to behave the way I would behave. And that's it. That's the beginning of that game, because I'm behaving like that. I want that for myself, and the other one should give me that because it's normal to give. So please give me that, and I'm not aware that I'm not giving anything in exchange. So there is something wrong in the value system I got that I'm projecting on someone else. So if I just decide that my value system is better than the other one, then I start to be wrong, and I start to be in that who's right or wrong relationship. And I told you, it's always the relationship which is losing. The loser is the relationship itself. Sorry for my English if it's not proper, but I'm trying to explain some tough thing, and it's very important for me to transmit that. Maybe for you to listen to it, I don't know. I hope that you're not, it's not boring for you and you're still interested. Thanks if you stayed so far on that video. So the projection of your value system is something you might be aware and more aware. If you're judging the other after the 10 seconds, it means that you're doing that in a way or another. You're complaining about the way the other one is dressed, or you're judging, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then you will try to make the other one do something he doesn't want. Because if you're not judging, if you're not projecting the value system on someone else, then you will just realize that your value system is perfect for you, but not necessarily perfect for someone else, because the other one is different. Because his past is different, because his body is different, because his mind is working differently. And so in that process, you know that difference is something good and not something which is threatening you. So I think it's good to be aware of you projecting on someone else, or someone else projecting on yourself his own value system. I'll resume it once again. Level of blackmail, relationship benefits, the fog in the way you communicate, and the unfairness. The unfairness comes from the value system you're projecting on someone. Okay, you got these 4 ingredients. Now, part 4, and the last one, I'm gonna give you many tricks to avoid relationships, dangerous relationships, manipulating games in relationships. The first one is to identify that you're in a manipulating game. How to do that? I told you before, and I'm going to tell you that once again, is your inner feelings. Listen to your plexus, listen to your throat, listen to your stomach, listen to this bad feeling you have about yourself. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel shame? Do you feel anger? Do you feel all those feelings which are not, very, very pleasant to feel? And that you keep for yourself. You don't allow yourself to say that. So, okay, just a little break now. If you feel anger, there's a difference between anger and violence. You might be angry, but not violent. You might feel anger inside of you and say, okay, I'm angry at the moment. I don't want to talk anymore. I'll go for a walk and we'll talk later. So you can feel anger, and it's not necessarily related to violence. So don't feel guilty about feeling anger. That's normal. That's just a human feeling. Come on. Okay, so identify your inner feelings, and then you will know. Listen to your body. He will tell you if you're involved in something which allows you to say no or doesn't. If you feel stuck, if you feel oppressed by something, it may be because the other one is putting a pressure on you. and is using some relationship benefits to control you. Okay? So that's how to identify that you're involved in a manipulating game. Now, how to avoid it. That's the main part. Well, you got all the ingredients, so now it's not that complicated. First of all, you have to get out of the fog. Okay, you have to ask precisely what does that person mean. Second of all, define your own limits and don't be afraid, because people who are respecting themselves can be loved. We don't love gentle people. We don't love nice people. Why? Because being nice means that your needs are going after someone else's. So you're fading away. Decision after decision, if you put someone else's need above your own needs, then what will happen? You will have all your needs, and there are needs, will not be fulfilled. And so you will fade away. And so you will go to depression, and then you will not even be noticed by the other ones. So please remember that. Remember that if you try to be nice, you will not be loved. You will be abused, or maybe appreciated, but not loved. We love people who know themselves. We love people who are really aware of their value system, of what they want to share, what they want to do, of what they want, how do they react, and what do they bring to life. And if you know yourself, you will feel that strength inside of you. You will feel what is your value system, and you will contribute to the world. Well, that's what I hope for you, and what I hope for anybody, because if you start to shine who you really are, then the world will be just made of shiny people, and I hope that to happen. Maybe I'm a dreamer, but why not? Okay, so first of all, out of the fog. Second of all, define your own limits. This is not possible for me. It's not gonna happen. Okay, I'm not gonna make that. Or, okay, I can do that, but within those limits. Okay? Is that okay for you or not? If it's not okay, then we talk again later. And at the end of it, cut short the conversation. Because this way, you will not feel you will not feel hasty to react, and because when your reaction is too quick, what happens? You can't think, you can't listen to your feelings, you're reacting. And when you react, what happens? The same process again and again. And so if you're involved in a manipulating game in your relationship, then you can't avoid it by reacting the same way. So please, give the relationship a bit of air, a bit of time. Get out of it as quick as you can. So first, put things out of the fog. Second, define your own limits, and then go away the quickest you can. Okay? So this is it. I hope these advices are going to help you to get out of it. I hope it was clear enough. Sorry for all my English mistakes, and if you liked it, please just put a like and share it. It's just for free. It's just for you. Share it. So I just hope I could spread the message, and I thank you for watching that video. It was a quite long one, and I wish you good luck. Bye-bye.